Hello, good evening. I'm Vivian. Nice to meet you, Dadhichi. It's an honour to meet you.
Likewise. Hi.
Hi. We got.
Sorry?
My name is Vivian. Vivian Summers.
Hi, Vivian. How are you?
I'm great. So everything's fine with the electricity this week?
Well, we never know here.
Okay.
For now, it's fine.
Fingers crossed. Well, I was riveted listening to and watching you last week and everything
Really?
Yes, you were fantastic. and Sheila and I were just saying we've read a lot of your books and your articles and Sheila Vejurasa, who's on our panel this evening.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Dadhichi.
Hello, and Peter.
And Peter and Peter as well. So I've certainly read a lot of your material and I've learned a great deal from it myself. I'm a big fan and studier of astrology. And what I love about you is you also, from what I gather, you can do both Vedic and Western. Is that correct?
Yeah, what we're doing here now is Vedic, but, I have a penchant for Vedic astrology. That's my initiation. I've been with my current teacher for nearly 26 years and taken several initiations in India, and it's sort of like a form of tantric astrology, really.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it for 37 years now, so I swap between the two. Obviously, you don't want to confuse people. With Vedic astrology, it takes the position of all the planets back by the precessional value, which is around 23 degrees per position.
Yeah.
So it confuses people if you start calling a Scorpio a Libran and a Virgo a Leo. And so I just keep them separately compartmentalised.
Yeah, when I first had my Vedic chart done, it actually made a lot of sense to me because I'm a Capricorn, but by Vedic astrology, I have a Piscean moon, a Sag sun, and that makes a lot of sense about my personality, but so does my Western chart. So
It's your lunar position.
in my Western is Aries.
What about in the Vedic system? It would be either Aries or Pisces.
Pisces.
Yes, Pisces and Piscean to me when I look at you.
Well, there you go, Piscean. A lot of people think I'm
This is
Piscean.
good for you now. Big changes started in January.
Yes.
But there's been a retrogression of Saturn moving into the 10th lunar house from Pisces. Depends on which star it is in Pisces. There are 27 stars, and those stars are divided into 4 parts or quarters. So there's 108 sectors in the zodiac circle. So these are what are called the Navamshas, the ninth harmonic, and I'm getting incredible insight into, I'm doing a study on death now. I'm getting around 90% accuracy on when the transit of Saturn is touching certain positions in the Navamsha or ninth harmonic chart. Very amazing stuff. So those quarter stars are very, very important in Vedic astrology.
Wow.
So depending on the star, what degree in Aries is it?
9.
Okay, so 9, we'd have to come back 9 and 6, 5,
Wow.
4,
A live reading.
14, so that'd be 16, so that'd be, you're actually in the Uttarabhadrapada, what's called ruled by Saturn. I have such a strong link of destiny. My best friend in America is Uttarabhadrapada, my eldest son is Uttarabhadrapada, my daughter's born under Anuradha, the other star of Saturn. So people misunderstand you.
They do, all the time.
The Uttarabhadrapada person, the person born in that middle portion of Pisces in the sidereal zodiac, when you meet people, people take you as a snob, but you're not.
People always think that you do. Oh my God, this is
That's so
wow.
funny.
I feel like you've just done a sonar through me because
It was like that. It was like a
I
beacon
often get
of sonar.
told that I'm aloof.
Yeah, that's that aloofness. But I'm going to tell you, these people, you are the most compassionate person.
I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
You won't
She is.
advertise that.
I don't. That's so
People
funny.
don't even know that you're very, very soft and gentle.
Oh,
Very true.
Just a research question. Did you have any legal issues in the last year or so?
yeah.
You've had, it's either a court case or some legal battle with the Saturn transiting the 9th. See, the transit in the Western system is done from the sun sign. In Vedic astrology, if we adjust for the precessional value and then do the transits from what we call Chandralagna and the lunar star, then bang, you just see all this stuff. There's a whole other lot of other systems there. There's another system called Jaimini Sutras, which is completely abstruse. But I was initiated into that in the early 90s by Professor Ramakrishna Sarathy, who was just an amazing astrologer. I harangued him for 15 years. I met him in 1984. He was on Ray Martin's midday show where he predicted Bob Hawke. He was given a whole lot of photographs of Bob Hawke, Peacock, Hayden. Bob Hawke at that time was in the trade union movement. And when they said, who's going to be the next Prime Minister? He said, Bob Hawke. Well, it was uproarious laughter in the Sydney Morning Herald and in the audience.
Yeah, Bob Hawke the bloke.
He became the Prime Minister. I harangued him. We became very good friends. He initiated me into Gayatri Mantra. He initiated me into face reading. That's where I learned my skills as a face reader from him. And he was amazing. I remember sitting there in his hotel room in King's Cross where he was staying. We were sitting there, the TV was turned down and the lotto numbers were coming up. I'm saying, Rama, he called me Daddy. Rama, how do you do this? He said, Daddy, you see the next number will be 33. 33. What?
No.
I want more of that. I want more of that, whatever that is.
Wow.
Serious?
So he instructed me. He was really my first amazing instructor, and we kept great friendship for years. The predictions he made to me were astounding. He predicted the year I would divorce my first wife. That came to pass. But nothing is as powerful as the system called the Nadi Grantha, which is the palm leaves in India where they take your thumbprint and nothing else. You don't give them your birthday or any of that stuff. They just take your thumbprint, left and right hand. 3,000-year-old palm leaves with all your genealogy on it, your name, your mother's name, your father's name, the date of birth. They will draw the horoscope from your thumbprint and all of the predictions. I mean, I took Senator Jambi Madrigal up there 2 years ago. She nearly fell off the chair. Couldn't believe it. One of the top senators here, one of my clients, and a lot of people.
They would do like an astrological, like they would draw a chart from your thumbprint.
Yeah, well, it's there in the leaf. It was drawn 3,000 years ago. All of your history is there, date of birth, time of the day you were born, parents' names, husband's name.
Kind of like a blueprint.
Names. So it's your blueprint.
It's your blueprint.
Look, in the West they call it the Akashic Record, but all of that's BS. A lot of the people I've seen, I have very little faith in the people in my own industry. There's very few people. But when you have this done, and I've been in and I'm studying it now, I'm getting insights. That's where I'm getting these insights from. It's called Nadi Grantha.
Nadi Grantha.
The great seven sages, they're called the Saptarishi. Saptarishis, the seven sages. And when you have it done, they will pull out these dusty old leaves. They're about this long. They're like long rulers, palmyra leaves.
Palmyra leaves.
They'll go through the leaves and you think, these guys, they're just guessing. Is your name Jonathan? No. Next leaf. Does your mother wear glasses? No. Is your wife's name Belinda? No. And it's like they're guessing. Then they'll just go, your name is Dadhichi. Yes. Your wife's name is Nile? Yes. You were born October 24 or 23? 24. 1957? Correct. Yes, this is the leaf. You were born 5:20 p.m., correct? Yes, your mother's name was Esther, your father's name was John, correct?
No
you were
way.
in an orphanage they'll go through the whole of life. There's 14 chapters there. So this is what I'm saying. When you have this done, I actually wrote all the notes on that down. And several months later, this was in 1999, my ex-wife, was going through my office, cleaning the office, and found all these notes. And it said, blah, 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 blah. She's going, wow, this is amazing. You will leave your wife. You will leave the country. You will fall in love with a much younger woman. You will move to a country in the northwest and leave the city living and move to a rural area. You will marry that woman. You'll have a daughter with her at an advanced age. You'll then have a big court case, and then you'll lose a lot of money, and then you'll have something replaced in your body, and absolutely everything. Absolutely everything, down to the date of death.
Wow.
Is given in that. If you're game to have it done. I've got a friend, her uncle was a non-believer. Her cousin took him for his birthday up in the north, in the Punjab, there's one. He said, all right, I'll have it done. Because they go back, chapter 9 will tell you, and from the 9th house of the horoscope, we see your past karma, your past janma. It says, in your past life, you executed one of the soldiers of the king for no reason. we're sorry to say you will have to be killed in the same way. And unfortunately, the timeline runs out in 10 days. Your karma has expired now. Ah, BS. And yeah, that following weekend, would you believe, they're in this very busy bazaar, you know, one of those dusty marketplaces, lots of people. They were just buying some fruit. And on the stall next to them, a pickpocket, a thief was taking some fruit. He didn't realise, but across diagonally were two policemen who saw him. They raced over, a scuffle broke out. One of the policemen pulled his gun out, and it went off, and it blew my friend's uncle's head off.
No.
Just blew his head off. Absolutely 100% correct.
So
Wow.
it was just, you know, it was done without reason, it was done for no reason, and it was done violently.
He had to die that way.
He had to die
on
the
that
same
day.
way.
If you get the right reader.
Where do you go for this?
Yeah, and why don't a lot of people know about this? Why is it...
No.
What's that?
In fact, a lot of people not only know about it, but they are now, some of the IT people in India are starting to put together a database of all this stuff.
Really?
I've got a
That's amazing.
connection there in the south of India, and I work with them occasionally to get the information. I sort of cross-reference how they do the readings, and I'm now starting to find out how that's done technically.
Can you do it in Australia?
No.
No?
You really have to go there. I've sent data over there, but you have to be there. They have to go through the testing process because, as you know, there could be 300 people with your name in the last 1,000 years. So they've got to get down to the detail. At first it seems like they're guessing, but once they hit it, it's like the cog going, and they start rattling it off. And, you know, the chapter 1 took me 2 hours. Then I go into the last time I went there, I actually did chapter 12. Chapter 12 is fascinating. Chapter 12 is the moment of death. What will happen to you? What is your experience? The moment you take your last exhalation, what will be the vision? What will be the experience? Absolutely unbelievable. Even though we're blown out by what's going to happen to me, I'm not going to tell you. It's quite...
Oh, wait. Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm fascinated. Isn't this fascinating?
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to shut me up. And I'm speechless.
We're agog here.
Are we talking to the audience now?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
You just educated not just the panel, you're educating the entire audience, and this stuff is absolutely fascinating because especially this thing about the moment of death. You know, I've done a lot of research into, you know, the empirical evidence around all the doctors and scientists working at the moment around finding that empirical evidence of life after death. But one of the greatest questions I think we all have is, what's it going to be like at that moment? You know, what was it like for Steve Jobs at that last moment when he apparently said...
Well, chapter 12.
Chapter 12 will tell you.
Chapter 8, which is your 8th house. 8th house is what's called Ayodhya, which is the death.
Yeah.
That's the mode of death, the date of death, who will be there, what sorts of conditions will be around, how long you'll be unconscious. It's very, very... Chapter 8 is really only on that, what happens at death. Chapter 12 is also linked to your past karma along with the 9th house. 5th house is your future karma. So we look at all of these different areas of your horoscope to get insights into that. And chapter 12 will tell you where the soul goes. So depending on planets in the 12th house, and also some other little tricks that I've understood. You know, if it's a malefic, then you're going down, 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 down. If it's a benefic, you're going to go up. So we have to look at the aspects. It's very nice if you have Ketu, the south node, or Jupiter in the 12th house. These are what we call moksha kartakas, or planets that signify salvation or release or enlightenment. And we can tell whether that happens prior to the point of death or at the moment of death. Some people are absorbed into the great space of light at that moment. Some will have it beforehand. So
Dadhichi,
from the horoscope, very simply.
Well, Dadhichi, can I ask you a question? There are some people believe that the future is set in stone, and other people believe that the future is created by our choices in the present moment. So what's your perspective on that?
You see, the M2SH2 gene relates to the condition of bowel cancer. If a person has an M2SH2 gene which is faulty, they're predisposed to bowel cancer. But did you know the genetic addresses near that particular gene may relate to food? So if I said to someone, here, you've got a choice of this whole smorgasbord of food. This is it. I'll show you, I've got free will, I'm going to eat that. That person will eat the food that aggravates that particular condition because it's genetically hardwired to choose that. There's a great professor of neurophysiology. You might have heard of him, Sam Harris. They've been doing a lot of extensive research now, clinical research on choice. Did you know that 7 seconds before you make a choice, consciously, it's already made, and they can tell clinically what choices you'll make before you consciously make those choices. So the choices are made before you make them.
So we have.
I've heard that with
So they're not choices then. It
Yeah.
feels.
Well, maybe they're choices that we've constructed in a previous life or worked out for our next evolution.
All previous lives, karma, and future lives are all in the realm of phantasmagoria. They're dream. This is all dreamed. Even if you go and have these leaf readings, from the absolute point of view, it's all dream. When you go to sleep at night, let me give you an example. We all think we're the subject of like right now I'm talking to you. You appear to be the object to me, and I'm the subject. But you're in your space, I'm the object, and you're the subject. The truth is both of us are objects. And that's what happens when you dream at night. You'll have a dream about the first 5 seconds of the dream starts. There's an old man, he's 80 years old. He's sitting on a beach 20 miles long. He starts telling you his life history. In 5 seconds, 80 years has been created. Within the space of your cranium, 20 miles. What's the truth? His arm is cut off. You call the ambulance. You wake up, you're sweating. What happened? Nothing happened. The world is a dream as well. All of the great philosophies. Astrology tells you that too. If you really study the karmic aspects of astrology, the spiritual heart of astrology, it says all of this is non-existent. And particle physics is saying that as well.
Yeah, well, they've proven that. When they got really involved with superstring field theory.
It's a fractalic, phantasmagorical projection.
When you go down to the centre of a cell, there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
It's just
Who's
space.
the dreamer is the question. See, that's the problem, getting back to the subject-object.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In this dream.
Exactly.
You think you're the subject, I think I'm the subject.
yeah.
Neither of us is the subject. We are all objects. The dreamer, that's why they call it nature. This is God's nature. It's the supreme abstract intelligence dreaming this, if you want to use that term.
But
Just a
my
projection.
question is, when we leave this dream, do we go back to a reality as part of the dreamer?
That's the we. That's the misnomer. Where's the old man in my dream? Where did he go? He never existed.
So we don't exist.
We don't exist. This is the absolute, what's called the Advaita philosophy. Only the dreamer exists. And the dream is just an extension in time and space, which are also mental constructs. The dual meter, space and time are not two different things. Astrology is only about space and time.
So just for the guys at home, just to kind of get some fundamental understanding.
Deep here.
I know,
Wow,
but that's
that's cool.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know. We'll go back to Leo, boring Leo and Sag and whatever in a minute. But the thing is does that mean that when we die, there is nothing?
We don't die because we weren't born. Was the
But
old
so
man born?
there never is anything. But is there a dreamer still dreaming on behalf of us on some other reality once we die, or is that it? There's no more dreaming.
It's not that there's not anything. Look, I use the example of a drunkard who stumbles into his house late at night, it's dark, and he trips on what he thinks is a snake. He's flipping out, he's sweating, he's about to die. And his wife comes in and hears all the screaming and turns the light on, and there's a rope on the floor. What's the truth? There is something there. The truth is there is a rope there. But the untruth is that there's a snake there. So the universe is the same. This whole cosmological expansion of this abstract intelligence there is something there, but what we're seeing is a distortion of this truth, this presence awareness, which is what we really are, which is the dreamer itself. Like electricity shining through a myriad of light bulbs, different shapes and so on. We're all the light bulbs. The life force, that presence awareness is what we forget we really are. We identify with the vehicle or the light bulb.
Yeah, we're having a light bulb moment.
As subjects, but we're not subjects. It's the electricity, it's the abstract life force, the awareness presence that is the subject of all of this.
So is Trump just a bad dream?
We're all just a bad dream.
Can I ask a question? It's going to be a bit of a
We
boring
have
question.
Sheila over here.
Hi,
You
Dadhichi.
can't see her. She's stunningly beautiful.
Love the
Sheila.
topic.
No, you just dream about her because she's so dreamy and beautiful.
Love the high philosophy, high octane philosophy. How do you apply this in day-to-day life? We wake up tomorrow, the alarm goes off at 6 o'clock in the morning. You want to go to spin class, you've got to get to work by 9. How do you use what you've shared is amazing, but how do we just use this in our day-to-day life? Because you've got to get up, make breakfast for the kids, go and do your job, get home. You know, how do you, the drudgery or you want to feel empowered in your day and you want to feel like your dreams can come true. How do we take what you've shared just, and use it in a practical sense?
Did you have some dinner tonight?
A little bit of dinner.
She didn't eat much. I saw her.
I pecked.
But the food is in your stomach and being digested, right?
Yes, correct.
And how much thought did you give to that?
Some small thought, some thought, definitely. I like to eat.
While we've been talking, have you been thinking about it?
I have not thought about dinner, no. I've been quite present.
How about your heart beating?
Now, as you say it, now I listen to my heart.
Well, that's the problem with your life. When you give thought to it, you think you need to think about it. That surrender. When you attain this clarity of presence awareness, there's not a lot of necessity to think about even making lunch. It happens.
Great answer. Yeah.
Just as the biological processes are autonomous, in the higher man, the life processes are autonomous as well.
So surrender. You're talking about surrendering.
They happen. There's nothing to surrender. There's nothing to do. All this doing, you see, by doing and creating paths and principles and processes, you're actually creating a path is really just projecting more of space. And what's a path? A path is space, distance to get somewhere, and time at some point in the future. Eradicate that. Why do you need... You're only going to ever become what you've always been. If what your true identity is presence awareness, what can you become other than what you are? There's no becoming in that.
So just be in the present moment. So just be in the present moment, yeah.
The presence awareness, it's an identification shift. It's not anything you can do. It's like looking at a field of white daisies and asking, hang on, why is there a yellow daisy there? Why did nature make that specific? The daisy's not going, oh, well, I did this hatha yoga for 20 years and then I became yellow. It's just what is.
Sort of like childlike acceptance of observation rather than delineation, just trying to be.
Yeah.
And that's, the very basis of so much of the Buddhist beliefs and quantum physics. We have to do a whole thing talking to you about this.
You don't have to try anything. You are in this moment what is.
Yeah.
Now that is, I understand there is in some manner a preparatory stage, even though there's no necessity for preparation. That's all part of the dream. Look, talking about, it's a beautiful, have you ever had that, some of us will have that, when you get into that purified state of shining the torch of awareness back on its source, even when you're asleep, in deep sleep, there will be a moment where you wake up in deep sleep and you will know that you transcend the waking, the dream, and even the deep sleep states. This is called the Turiya Theta state. There's just pure, unconditional, unending, unbeginningless awareness there's no dream, there's no waking, there's no deep sleep. All of these things are objectives. They're objects, just like a tree, just like the TV. These inner states are objects as well. If you close your eyes and imagine a tree, you're not using your eyes to see that tree. So there's something perceiving that, just as you can perceive the emotions. It's funny how you refer to all of these as my emotions, my thoughts, my whose dreams, whose fears. These are the possessive case. So therefore there is something that is purely subjective that stands behind that same sense of beingness and observance that was there as a child, as a baby, as a teenager, as an adult, at the moment of death. It's consistently, perennially just aware.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Interesting. I had a dream or not dream, very similar to what you experienced or told me about last night. And there were different timelines in it, and people that had passed over that were in it that were telling me they hadn't passed over, and that it was all just a ruse, wasn't real. I had that dream.
Now you've got Jupiter transiting your 7th house from your Uttarabhadrapada Pisces moon, and the Saturn in the 10th house. And you've also had Rahu, the North Node, transiting the 7th house. So you've had a significant shift in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
In your awareness, there's been a significant shift also in your relationships.
Yep. Very
that
big.
would be part of maybe, I don't know, maybe some of the legal. It's either your relationship or a business partnership that has sort of cracked a little bit. And
Yeah.
so therefore
I moved out of a relationship and I decided to have some time on my own.
Was there any financial issue in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the legal thing that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So you'll clearly see that by the combinations of planets. When we look more carefully at your horoscope, we can see, along with this Leo, Cancer Leo eclipse. I'm sort of bringing us back.
Yeah, I know, because Mark's in my ear at the moment saying, let's get back to the eclipse, quick. But I want to spend like the next 10 shows talking about this.
I could hear it in my intuition, so I would...
Yeah, there you go. Brilliant.
So you have to be a little bit careful of your health, right? Because the eclipse to you now is showing you've had some issues there. And also the spinal area will be an area that may be causing some problem, the bone structure, the skeletal structure.
Yeah, I've definitely had 7 weeks of ill health.
Yeah, so this is all surrounding this particular area. But
wow.
for you,
it's incredible.
There's a principle in Vedic astrology. When the lords of the 3rd, 6th, 8th or 12th houses posit the 3rd, 6th, 8th or 12th, in combination especially with those other lords or rulers, then this is called Viparit Raja Yoga. It demolishes an evil ruler. It's the mathematical principle, negative times a negative equals positive. So this is a transitional thing for you, which is going to be very, very good. And your work and your money, if you're going for any new sorts of interviews or you're trying to get a better position, you're going to win against your competitors now. And you're thinking of that right now.
I am. And it's working.
And you're winning.
And it's already happening.
Yeah, so
I don't view them as competitors, by the way. I wouldn't want to say it as that. But just it feels to me like I'm at a time after a period. And I did see a Vedic astrologer some years ago who did tell me about all of this, and I do feel this is the first time in some years that it is starting to move in that direction. So,
the most fascinating
fabulous.
part of Vedic astrology is what's called the study of Prashnamarga. Prashnamarga is where we take the positions of the planets for the exact moment of the question right now, for the position of the astrologer, and then we can see what's going on. You'll be absolutely stunned. I've done over 10,000 readings. I have 42,000 horoscopes in my personal collection now, 12,000 from my own experience, and I can show you at the time of the question, the time of the meeting, the horoscope will be so similar to the time of birth. For example, the moon will be either in the sign at birth or the trikona or trinal position. Where are we now? Let's have a look. Moon has just entered into the sign of Scorpio, which is the trikona or trinal position to the sign of Pisces, which is where it was at the time you were born. So we could see this is a radical chart fit to be read. Rahu, the North Node, Mars, Mercury, Sun in the 6th house, Moon and Saturn in the 9th house. You're still worried about all this legal stuff. The mind is still gravitating towards the past with this Saturn and Moon in the 9th house. Saturn and Moon in the 9th house also has to do with your mother.
I just lost my mum.
So therefore, right now, Saturn, which is called Astrologer, or the planet of life and death, we see there's a very powerful connection between these two planets now. So the mind will be thinking, you see, the past karma, what you did, what your mother did, where is she now? See, the 9th house is the accumulated karmas.
It was
Both of
actually
your
her
mother
in my
and
dream last night saying that she wasn't, she was still alive.
And the 9th house is the place of dreams along with the 12th house. So the astrologer, through this Prashnamarga system that I've studied for many years and been initiated into, we know the dreams of the person, we know the thoughts of the person. The thoughts can be read from the position of the moon, the position of Mercury, all these sorts of things. So,
And all I did was tell you my 9 degrees in Aries moon.
Wow.
And we've got all of that from that. And I'm completely the most blown away I've been ever in all of my years of studying any of this. So I need to go and have a cup of tea and lay down and not worry about anything because it's not real.
Can I just ask one clarifying question?
Go on, Steve, sorry.
Yeah, just one clarifying question. Did you say that people normally have readings when their horoscope is similar to where it was when they were born?
They can only do it when it's completely the same as when they're born. I can show you
Isn't that
horoscopes
amazing?
the last few days. Oh my God. And I can show you genetic astrology. If I was to show you my daughter's horoscope, when I was born in 1957, the moon, Mercury, the sun, and the North Node were together. When my daughter was born, the moon, Mercury, North Node, and sun were in that same locality. In my horoscope, Mars and Jupiter were in the 7th house. In her horoscope, Mars and Ketu were in the 7th house. Ketu acts like Mars. It's just astonishing. You'll see the whole genealogy. How is that? What are the odds of all the planets being in those identical positions 55 years later?
Wow, that's amazing.
Just whoever that master dreamer is, it's phenomenal, isn't it?
It's an amazing dream, isn't it?
It's an amazing,
It is an amazing dream.
Just the all. So, I mean,
Your chart and what's happening with you right now, because you've got Jupiter in the 7th while Venus is transiting the 5th. So I know you've had some problems with the past relationship, but there's some other relationship either there already or coming.
Ooh la la. That's all we want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
You've just made me dance night.
not right now, but I've got a
There's
yes.
something there now. Absolutely, there's something there now. When the 5th house and the 7th house are posited by benefic planets, you see, that's awesome. You have to reduce your sugar intake.
Yes.
Venus is in the 6th house in the heavens right now, so you have a pancreatic weakness or predisposition to insulin issues, correct?
Yeah, I
Have
do.
you had tests for this yet?
I did when I was younger. So, well,
It's telling.
I was very severe hypoglycemic, and
Correct.
yeah.
Another diabetic?
No, my dad was.
Okay, one of the parents will probably
Yeah,
be diabetic.
basically, it's what my dad passed from.
Now, this horoscope was done for this moment, and Venus is in the 6th house by Jaimini aspect of Ketu. So when the South Node or the North Node and Venus are involved in the 6th house, in the watery sign, the pancreatic area may have some problems with hypoglycemic or insulin-related problems.
Well, I've definitely had some health struggles in the last few months, and I'm not used to it. I'm used to just pushing on, and so I am taking notice of it, and even wonderful people like Mitchell Coombs have brought it up, so I need to listen to it.
And that's the eclipse. So that's what we were talking about last week, to get back to the eclipse.
Because the show's not all about me. It's all about everyone else.
It's all about you,
It's
Viv.
not supposed to be about me. It's supposed to be about everyone else.
It's about the principles surrounding astrology and the beauty of the just intricate perfection of this. And when you look at the Nadi leaves, I mean, we have all sorts of psychic people and card readers and astrologers, but there was nothing in my 37 years of experience which comes anywhere near to the perfection and the absolute percent for percent correct predictions that can come out of this. And by studying that, we can see. I mean, I'm just giving you an example here, but we can see from the eclipses are always karmic because they happen on the nodal axis. So where that happens in the horoscope, both from the lunar position, the ascendant, and the sun's position, we can see where there's an intermittent gap, where there's a release of that energy, where there's a explosion and a reconciliation. In your case, we're seeing the eclipse is taking place there in that sixth area, sixth house of health. It's also the house of enemies. It's the house of debt. You'll struggle right now in your particular case to make the finances. You'll be talking about thinking about how to reconcile the bank balance.
I have not had any issues with debt for a long time, and right now it's come to a crunch.
I don't like it when I see Saturn in a hard aspect. It's not.
We're just talking about yours.
This is like theft for you. You've had something taken from you that legitimately should not have been taken. That happened. That's happened. And that happened in the recent past. It's not something that's going to happen or happened when you were a kid. This happened in the last year or so. So I suspect this is where an astrologer has to use a bit of intuition and practical common sense. Because I know from the 9th house position of the moon, Saturn now, that the legal issues with it. So maybe whoever this person was, the relationship, you may have loaned him money or he may have taken money, correct?
Yep.
So we have to be precise. I don't like this wishy-washy stuff. Come on, let's get rid of the wishy-washy stuff.
I love it. This is where I love to swim.
We have to be precise.
Yeah.
We have to be clear on timing and that sort of. Timing is a lot harder sometimes, but we can narrow it down. And so that's what I'm saying. There I can narrow it down. There I could have a look when Saturn and the North Node were in the right angle degree. When was that happening? We could see. I'll give you the dates later. But that's the sort of thing. Also, Mars and Rahu together here in the 7th house. Well, what I've found in my own experience, Mars and the North Node together gives some tragedies to the siblings in about 90% of the cases. So if you've got a sibling, there may be some problem there associated with that person's marriage as well. Or
this is too
some
much.
danger to their life. But a lot of them I've found will actually be on workers' compensation. Did that one have any danger or injury or accident?
You talking about the last 12 months?
Sibling. It may have been deeper earlier, correct?
Earlier in the year, from January on, there was some issues around health. And
correct.
I thought there was some danger around it. And there's also issues in their personal relationship. And they've been together for many, many years. Mm-hmm.
The danger came from some work-related issue.
And for my sibling?
Chemical, mechanical, electrical. It's an environmental thing that may have some hand in that person's health problem. But definitely now, Mars and North Node are in the 7th house, which is the marital house. So that's where I'll pinpoint exactly where that problem is. Mercury's retrograde. They'll change their mind.
Oh, my goodness. This is just too much. They just sat down with me recently and said there's issues that they have. And after 25, nearly 30 years together, I wouldn't have expected to have heard what they expressed.
Yeah, but I think they'll change their mind. Have they changed their mind?
They keep changing their mind and changing it.
That's the retrogression of Mercury.
Just changing it and changing it and changing it. I'm worried for them. I'm worried that it's a dangerous situation.
When Mercury and Mars are together, it's bitter. They're bitter enemies, these two planets. And all of these 4 planets right now are in the same star. They're in what's called the star called Maga. Maga is the Ketu star or the South Node. So these guys, now I've got a sense, now if these guys didn't meet when they were 14 or 15, they were alive in the last life, married together, these two people.
Well, interesting, one's a lot younger than the other and was very young when they met.
That's the Mercury, which is called Kumara, or a young boy.
Oh, my God. I just can't believe this.
Wow.
That's 20 years old for,
Very young. They were young, relatively speaking. I mean, I always thought they may have been younger.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling the guy is very immature mentally and emotionally.
150% yes.
He doesn't watch the show.
That's the Kumar, the young boy.
Just it literally never grew up. Peter Pan.
Yeah.
But also in a good way. There's some really good stuff about that too, because there's a positivity and an aliveness and a, you know.
Can I ask you whether you've had any dreams of snakes recently?
Last night.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, the astute astrologer should be able to see the dreams.
So you're seeing that in the map of the astrology, not your intuition.
There's a high degree of intuition that is used, but there is a vocabulary.
Oh, yeah.
For example, the node aspecting the ascendant will give a gap in the front teeth. The nodes of the snake, the head and the tail of the snake.
Wow.
In my
powerful
dream, Dadhichi,
Amazing.
at one part of the dream, there was a swimming.
On the hand?
No.
Or did it try to bite you on the finger?
No, but what happened was there was a swimming pool and my dog jumped in the swimming pool and I went in to get the dog out and someone said, look, there's all these animals trapped under the swimming pool, and it was actually a really thick layer of ice. So I got one of those picks and I was picking away at the ice and I got a Doberman out and then I kept picking and then all of a sudden I saw all these snakes underneath this really
the
thick
dogs
thing.
are significant as well, though, you know that? The dogs are very, very significant. These are the significators of what's called Lord Kala Bhairava. So this is time. So you've had some concerns about ageing.
I've always got concerns about ageing. I'm about to turn 55. So yes, you're right about that one.
But it's
Spot
got
on.
more to do with breaking free of that.
Oh,
So
God,
unlike
that's my
some people,
plan. That's my 100% plan.
They'll be anchored in that. I think you've actually been able to break free of that. You're getting an interesting reading today.
Oh my God! I just want to apologise to all the viewers. I did not expect this at all, guys.
That's amazing.
But I just think I'm so blown away at the accuracy from such little information that you've had from me. I've never met you ever until tonight, and you would agree, guys, wouldn't you? It's
Yeah.
just phenomenal.
This is
Accurate and
amazing. Like,
insightful
I'm just amazed at the amount of information that you've just picked up.
Speechless. I think every single
Because
person.
You're astrologers too. You're astrologers too. My teacher always taught me, he said, always share everything you have. I'm not one of those astrologers that will sort of keep all this. I love to share that. You know why? I mean, you can see, these are just a few of my books. I've got thousands of others, but there's so much knowledge. It is an infinite ocean of knowledge. How can I exhaust that if I share everything I know?
Yeah.
So
And astrology is just steeped in that. You know, it goes so far back. To me, astrology is the cornerstone of the blueprint of, you know, that's why I'm so fascinated. It's traceable. Like you were saying in the dusty palmyra leaves. You know, it's traceable.
The difficulty with astrology, I'm going to tell you the difficulty here, and even in all of those books with the most erudite scholars, the time of birth is a complicated point. I'll give you an example. My eldest son was born, I was there. They were both home births, my first two children. He took a while to come out, and as the head came out, he was squealing his head off. And then it was another 20 to 25 minutes before he got a bit tangled. We took him out. We then noted the time of birth. But when I had the leaf reading done, I realised from what I was instructed, because I always thought I had an Aries ascendant. And both my teacher and when I finally verified it, the Nadi leaf said, no, you have a Pisces ascendant, according to Hindu astrology. And it made sense. My teacher said, you were breathing before that. The electromagnetic energies of the planet imprinted on you prior to the full body and the cord being cut. And I went, that's absolutely correct. My son was breathing independently 25 minutes earlier. Therefore, you cannot know, even if someone gives you an accurate birth time.
Yeah.
That is the exact time. However, what I've done today is it's just a sample, and I don't even have your horoscope in. If we sit down and do your horoscope, we'll go into so much fun.
What country are you in? I'm getting on the next plane, man. I've got the weekend off. I'll see you there. It's incredible.
What I'm saying is, if as an astrologer or even if you're a tarot practitioner, note the time the client comes to you.
Okay.
My
I'm never.
favourite books are here. My favourite books are here. These two books are my favourite books. These two. This is Prashnamaga of Kerala. These are the two big books. If you can wade through these teach you the art of drawing the horoscope for the moment the person approaches you. You know why I got into this? I'd do so many functions in the old days, TV, balls, celebrity functions. You'd ask someone, oh, what's your birth date? I'm not telling you. Especially women, right? Especially when they hit 40. I'm not telling you. So how do you read for someone as an astrologer who doesn't give you their birth date, right?
The time that you've talked to them about it.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Horary astrology, you take the time. It represents the moment they're born. And it's a beautiful flower. It just blossoms before you. You don't even need to ask anyone their birthday. You don't even need to tell them about the positions of the planets. You just, my astrologer my teacher was amazing. He taught me. And when I was lecturing at the Sydney Astrological Research Society, FA, they used to get angry with me because I'd say to them, put the paper away. I don't want you writing the charts down. I want you to draw the chart in your mind. I want you to know where all the planets are.
But how much information is stored in your brain? Like, that's what I've been thinking this whole time we've been talking. Like, I know it's a certain size, but it's seriously, there's a massive database. You could literally take yourself over to those guys in IT in India and you could just speak the entire database to them and they'd be trying to keep up with you typing it down. Been brilliant.
Well, I couldn't figure out how my teacher, sometimes I still refer to my teacher. I always defer to him. If I've got a bit of a tricky problem technically, I'll ring him, Master, I've got a horoscope. I'll be halfway through the sentence and he'll be telling me where the positions of the planets are in that person's birth chart, the time they're born.
But that's what you were doing. You were doing exactly the same with me tonight.
Well, like the master, like the servant.
Wow.
I hate to have to wrap this up. Marg we've gone way over tonight. I just can't wait to have you back on the show and some of these topics.
We didn't go into
I know.
all the...
We'll have to have you back next week.
Let's talk next week and we will go through that. I just wanted to share a little bit about how I do things and I think, the taste is in the eating, just showing, not telling. By actually giving a few examples with
I also think that,
That was amazing.
a lot of the information that you've given that a lot of people wouldn't understand, myself included, in that depth, is displayed in the accuracy of how you related that to my chart. So I think for the guys at home, yes, it's above some sort of understanding, but on some level we do know it. On some level there is that sort of element of...
Can I tell you the secret of it? And just in finishing up, my teacher for years would get very angry at me. He'd say, stop reading. And he would initiate me. I've done over what they call japa. He'd say, right, I want you to go and do 300,000 of these chants to this particular deity. Now I want you to worship the sun. I want you to do 500,000 of these and I want you to do it in 3 months. And when you do that, this is the secret. It's not reading the books. There's certain chakras in the tongue. And we'll go into it in depth, but when you do these mantras, these disciplines, all of these nerves will open up. Then you don't need to read. I've had arguments and debates with very erudite astrologers. My teacher says, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter what's in the book. The deity will reveal, even without any horoscope, what you say will be true. This is called Wak Siddhi, the power of speech, and the opening of this chakra in the throat and the tongue and here. By doing that, what you say will be beautiful.
That's amazing.
It's devotion.
It's like
It's
another
trust.
reason
Yeah,
to do mantra
devotion and
meditation.
trust. Yeah, absolutely. High
And
power.
all of that, I'll show you from your horoscope and all the sun signs. We're going to get into this. Which of the planets are friendly, which are unfriendly, which ones we can utilise and strengthen, which ones we can wear gems for, you see. You're wearing a blue gem on the second finger, which hand? That's for the Uttarabhadrapada. That's the lunar star lord of your birth. You see? If you use the correct finger, that'll give you strength. It will bring success, right? Some other planets and gems will bring chaos. Colours of the clothes. What colour are you wearing today?
Navy blue.
Look, yeah, again, for that. So also, without even knowing the birthday, we can know which Planets are ruling you.
And I often wear a blue ring on my second finger. I just don't have it on tonight. This is navy blue, but I have an aquamarine, beautiful one from India. I wear it on my second finger. I am so sorry I have to wrap this up tonight.
Let's talk next week.
Wow.
Let's talk next week.
Astrology.com.au is where I hang out and where you can find out more.
And all of Dadhichi's details are on our website, guys. Please go to our website, check it out. This man is next level. I mean, guys,
Absolutely.
what
That's
we've just
amazing.
been treated to tonight is
To the tip of the iceberg, I
it's the
think.
tip of a very, very large
You're
iceberg.
going to be busy, Dadhichi.
I was chipping
Yeah.
away at that iceberg in my dream last night, and now I know why.
Wow,
So
that's
thank you
amazing.
so
Thank
much
you.
for sharing and being so generous of your heart and your spirit and your knowledge.
I appreciate you giving me the time. Love to everyone. Bye-bye.
I'll speak to you
Thank
very,
you.
very
Bye-bye.
soon, Dylan. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.